Hello, professionals. My name is Rico Aladdin, and I am the founder of Professional Lunch. Today, we are going to talk about nutrition, and my guest is the owner of Inspire Nutrition. Sarah, welcome to the
Hi,
show.
thank you so much for having me. I'm super flattered and it's honored. It's such a cool opportunity to see you again
Yes.
in a different setting than when we usually do.
Yes.
But get to share one of the favorite passions of my life.
Beautiful. So, please tell the professional lunch audience a little bit
Mm.
about yourself.
My name is Sarah T. I am a transplant to North Dakota. We moved here in about 2017 from a smaller town out of Chicago, Illinois, about 20 miles. I'm born and bred there. Our family's all there, and we came up here for work. And we're not leaving. North Dakota has just grown on us, and we just love it. And I did all my schooling down there. So I have an undergraduate degree in nutrition and wellness from Benedictine University. That's my alma mater, I should say, and a master's in public health. And I studied that at the same university. Went out to California, Cal State Fresno, in the central part, and did my dietetic internship. So I did a lot of my schooling, kind of came around. My husband and I are high school sweethearts. So he's been along the journey with me. I've been in the journey with him, and it just all ended up here in North Dakota. And we love it. And we have 3 beautiful children. Keeps me busy and on my toes, but I'm still allowed to follow my passions, and I'm super thankful for that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, nutrition. How
Mhm.
did you get the idea of studying business when it comes to about nutrition?
Well, I wasn't always into nutrition. I graduated high school in 2004. Will age myself a little bit. And not a bad thing. I'm not ashamed. Not ashamed at all.
I mean, you age really well. So
Thank you
that's-
very much. I
yes.
appreciate that. I actually was going into dental hygienistry.
Oh, okay.
We had a family friend who owned a practice. I did a little assisting and helped in the office. And then I realized
That's
just
not
not my passion. No, and I really do feel that you need to pursue where your passion is, and it makes a difference
Yes.
in just what you do day to day.
Yes.
And so I have just a history of, I'm just going to flat out saying it, a little bit of bullying growing up and teasing, and just some other personal things that just led me to feel, you know what, I believe I went through each one of those things for a reason. And so I did a little bit of community college just to, in summers and school and working. I was into university a couple of years later, and that's when I pursued the nutrition field. And it really made a difference in just my passion and that motivation to finish classes and hop in where I was. And from then I just haven't looked back.
That's
So
good. That's good. Very cool. Very cool. So,
thank you.
how important is nutrition in life?
I feel like that's a loaded question.
Yes.
It's a very loaded question because of the time that we live in. Dietitians have a role for a reason. And I truly believe the role of nutrition can be supported by many professions. And I bank on that. I want that. But media in general can paint nutrition in a couple ways, and in ways that can encourage people and in ways that can discourage people.
Yeah.
Because somebody could be struggling with something, be easily bought into the latest trend, fad, lifestyle, celebrity, and think that they're making this big change. And then without that right help and direction and coaching and care and passion, a lot of the times they fall back.
Wow.
And it doesn't succeed. And I pride myself on the value of nutrition isn't the food police. I'm not here to police what's in your cup, or everybody takes their food and hides it behind their back and meal plan. Nutrition is counseling one-on-one with people. It's getting to know the person in front of you and finding out what drives them and motivates them, what they care about, and what their life is like. And then that's the time that we can focus on nutrition, because there's so much more than what's on somebody's plate most of the time when I'm working with them. And so I care about that person in front of me. I can't speak for everybody and say that they're all not caring, but there's usually financials driven behind certain motivations on an influencer, let's just say. Not all influencers are bad, right? I don't want to say that. But I can only speak for what I do and how I value nutrition in somebody's life to bring joy around eating, right? Nutrition should be joyful, not stressful. How can I make it not stressful for you? Nutrition drives what we do every single day. We need it. Our bodies need it. Our families need us to be healthy and motivated to take care of ourselves. But sometimes somebody needs a tool, and I get to be that tool for that person and help them and listen to them and really define what nutrition is for them, not what I think nutrition should be for them. So it is it's a loaded question, and one that I could probably talk about for this whole time. But I believe in defining nutrition, not necessarily by the textbook that I learned, but with the person that I'm sitting with and how they view it.
I really want to follow up on that. Tell me, because you said the way you define nutrition, now I'm really curious. Describe a moment that you have defined nutrition with a person, like what they thought about it. It's not what it actually is. Can you think of any example?
So in my practice right now, I have quite a few different individuals, different backstories, different lifestyles, and one that has tried and tried and tried so many things. They've tried just doing supplements. They've tried tests and tests. They've tried the exercising. They've tried medications. But really what we needed to do is take a step back, figure out who they are, what their goals were, and talk about what foods, what lifestyle, what behaviors are going to help them reach their goals when all of these other things weren't working. And so we have been able to change the food quality that they're eating, the food types that they're eating, find the right support that's not overwhelming, because it's overwhelming. It can be. For me, this is what I do every day. I can cook every day. I can come up with a recipe, usually on the spot, going in a grocery store. But for someone, that's not normal. So I get to go with that person. We have a grocery store coming up, and we get to walk around the store and really develop just what they need. And their definition of nutrition is changed because we sat down, we listened, and we figured out what didn't work and truly what might they need. And it might change, in a couple months. But that's the thing. Nutrition should be evolving and changing, never stagnant. Always open to learning, always open to seeing what's new, what's out there. Because if something doesn't work, why do we want to do it? You're only going to get discouraged.
Wow, this is deep. This is beautiful. I love this. We're gonna circle back to talk about this some more. But the show is about inspiring young professionals, right? Sometimes, when people come onto the show, when professionals come onto the show, one thing I always tell them is, I want to give that student a window into your career, because I believe that there is something, if they're not gonna follow in your footsteps, but they might learn something from your career that serves them in their own career. And so please tell me, how, when you were in school, right, when you were in college, how did you make the decision on your major?
How did I make the decision to become a private practice dietitian?
Yes.
Or just a dietitian?
Both.
In general?
Both.
So I never at that moment in college, those years ago, thought I'm just going to become a private practice dietitian. I actually feel there is value in pursuing what maybe I would call more traditional pathway, clinical, food service, community nutrition. And within those three spheres, there's a plethora of of things that you can do. Could be writing in community. It could be working at NDSU has an extension. It could be working in that field. It could be working in hospital food service, long-term care, food service management. It could be food service, meaning dining, university dining. There could be that scope there. It could be working for a big company. It could be working for a larger food company that might need sales or references. We just had a conference this weekend and focused on some of the areas pathway. It could be clinical, where you're inpatient in a hospital and you're working on those beds. So I feel to look into those three spheres first also allows you to see what your true desire is. Not everybody's cut out for clinical. Not everybody's cut out for community. But through our internship in school gives you a taste of what those are.
Yeah.
So when I graduated, my internship, I was studying for boards and exams and for our licensure. So I needed a job. I started as a dietitian for Lifetime Fitness. So I was not a sports dietitian, but I ran the nutrition department in one of the locations for quite a few years. And so I was able to use my schooling, learn more from those corporate dietitians. Was that my pathway that I felt like I was going to be at for forever? No, it wasn't. Did it allow me to learn a little bit more post-school? Yeah. Am I thankful for some of the experiences I had? Yes. So I feel each new student coming out to be open to what our field truly is. You might not know it right away. And I didn't. I was a new dietitian, very driven. I did get a chance to essentially run my own business in that sphere. It wasn't completely mine, but I was able to practice timing and budgeting per se and running my own clients. So I think that helped fuel just what I was going to do afterwards. Because shortly after my first son was born, I ended up starting the private practice, leaving there just to have that flexibility for a little bit with clients. And then it just evolved when we came to North Dakota.
Wow. I love your story. I really do. I really do. And so now internship is important because you might graduate with a degree and not knowing all the opportunities that are available with that degree. So I want the students who are watching get that little part so that that can serve someone out there, right?
The internship is a vital part. So I always compare it to essentially like a residency. Middle mini med school if you want, because it's a supervised practice hours that we have to complete in each one of those spheres and satisfy those requirements to be able to sit for our boards. So without that experience, one, you might have no idea what you're gonna go into, but two, it's really that safety factor. We need to be able to go into practice at least with a foundation. They usually call it entry level dietitians. No one is going to go in there completely confident. There's so much that we need to glean even now from nutrition. You're not going to know everything, and it'd be wise to those students to go in there knowing you don't know everything, but be open to learning from either your peers or those that have been practicing for a long time. So it's vital, and it can be grueling. And usually it's unpaid internship for usually a year, but there's different types of internships. I did a more traditional pathway, and now that I've been out, I'm finding that there's internships where essentially it's combined learning with your academics. So that was something I wish I would have
been able to
do.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. So we're gonna circle back about what inspired you to start the business? Was it because you think you could serve more people? Was it because of your passion? What was that? What was that?
I feel solely confident that I wanted to start my own private practice. And it's changed names in the last few years because I wanted to be able to be my own boss,
Mm-hmm.
be able to work with my clients the way that I want to work with my clients. We are evidence-based field, but at the same time, there's an integrative and functional part of it that is so wonderful to explore with people, that I want to be able to use all of the resources I can and not necessarily have my hands tied behind my back because we're following, and I mean that extremely respectfully, because we're following certain rules.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been able to see what it can do on both sides.
Yes.
Something might change, something might not change. And then when we're open to trying something else, usually we can see change. So I really feel that I've been able to make some of the best relationships with clients. That's what I pride myself on. It's not about money, right? It's not about how many can I get.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the relationship that I get to have with them, and that they trust me and allow me to help them on a personal. It's very personal. Sometimes there's tears, and I want them to know that it is so fun to be able to, for me, to be a part of their journey. And a lot of the times, you don't get that fulfillment some places.
Wow.
When you're in, and I can't speak for every organization, but it's a challenge to love on your dietitians a little bit more, because we love what we do, and we're here for the people.
Wow.
And it's just another resource, and to be part of a team. And I love being able to be contracted out. I love being able to have my patients, and I'm contracted with another facility in town as their dietitian.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a thing that we dietitians love. We love a little bit of everything. We love to write. We love public speaking. I love teaching. And so with a private practice, I'm allowed to pick and choose my schedule. I'm allowed to come and speak and talk and teach and work, do cooking classes and Red River Market. I have that freedom, and it's so fulfilling to be able to do it.
Wow.
So fulfilling.
Wonderful. This is just great. Man, I don't want to take the break, but I have to. We're going to take a short break here. When we come back, we'll talk to Sarah about some of the things that she loves about what she does. We'll be right back. We are back. We are at the Basin Information Network studio at NDSU. My guest today is Sarah T. She is the owner of Inspire Nutrition. Welcome back, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And like I said at the beginning, I did not want to go to break because the story was so, I love your story.
Thank you.
Have such an inspiring story.
Thank you.
And I always pride myself in saying this. As professionals, we are called to serve. And whenever I hear a story where a professional is serving people passionately, as you are, really, that get me, you get my full attention. So now we get to the part of the conversation that to talk about some of the things that you love about what you do. Tell me about some of the things that you love about what you do.
Cooking.
And
that all too well, sir.
Yes, I do.
So on my Instagram page, it's a work in progress, but what I have found just naturally goes on my page is what I cook at home. I have my kids, usually they're standard children that sometimes do not like mom's creations. Meatless Mondays. Sometimes they're not all about it. But what I find that I'm passionate about, that I want to share, is to say it's okay to love to eat. It's okay to cook. It's okay to have a beautiful plate of food. Because a lot of the times I'm sitting there, and the reaction from the person across, if I'm describing a recipe, they've used some spicy words in how I describe the food or the recipe to them. But that's the whole goal, is I want you to be just as excited about the food that you're eating as I am. Why not?
Yes.
Why do you have to sit and eat this boring meal, standard meal, when it can be colorful and full of life and full of flavor and just as good for you? So I find that just drives me to continue. It's a big part of what I do, is coming up with recipes with you guys, helping you cook. I go into houses with my clients, and I'll do one-on-one cooking sessions with them, and we'll prep, go into a grocery store, and we look at the food, we feel, we touch the food, we get to see it. But then when I'm at home, I will say though, writing recipes, if somebody's watching this and wants to be my recipe writer, I like to cook with my senses a lot of the times, or, I just feel like that Muppet chef, and he's just putting all of his spices and stuff in. But that's what I want to instill in my clients and friends and family, is just to love cooking. And I like that I get to influence somebody's feelings with that. And a lot of the times it's eye-opening for them. And they'll send me pictures, they'll send me recipes, they'll talk to me in grocery stores. And it's so encouraging that I'm able to help them see it too. Wow. And that's rewarding in itself.
Wow, wonderful.
Just being able to share that.
So how has nutrition changed your life and your family's life?
My own personal life, nutrition, I am a very transparent person. So I struggled a little bit with mild eating disorders or disordered eating, just from teasing and bullying. That's just where I was. And so nutrition became personal. Okay. And just what I wanted to glean from it. And then how I never wanted anyone else to feel. So I have this relationship with this big term nutrition because I love it. I love the way I feel. It can be a little bit consuming just because of schooling, the way you think about things, in a good way. But I find that what I get to do, I get to bring home for my family and know I'm feeding them well. I'm taking care of them the best I can, helping them, but also nurturing them to have healthy relationships with food and realistic relationships. That's something else in society that's poor, is not having healthy relationships with food. It's not going to be perfect every day. Yeah. I know that. It's not. We come from Chicagoland area, and pizza is pizza. We love pizza. But I find that my own journey has just allowed me to be forgiving and open to all the wonderful things that really embody nutrition, and the food groups, the food types, the cooking preparations, where we go to eat. But also I get to appreciate meeting people who bring other food cultures in, and I get to cherish those things and share that. And cultural food is very important to my family. So that in itself is learning from other cultures and food techniques and tastes and vegetables, and bringing that to my family. That's nutrition. It's also respecting the cultures around us that bring in foods that maybe here in the United States we don't typically eat. So that's another thing I challenge. Usually I'm bringing in these different types of things to clients and sharing maybe food ideas and recipes that they've never had before. And to me, that's just as much of nutrition as the breakdown of the food on your plate.
Oh, wow, wonderful. So what are some of the services that your business provide?
So I do one-on-one nutrition counseling. I'm not a therapist. It's well within my scope of practice. But that is primarily what I want to focus on at the beginning, getting to know that person. Because if I'm working with your food, if I don't take that time to counsel and we work together, you're not going to hear what I say. So one-on-one nutrition counseling. I do grocery store tours with my clients. I love doing that. It's so fun. Have one this week. So looking forward to it. I do cooking demonstrations. So I've done our Red River Market cooking demonstrations. I have cooking classes that I'll be starting again for adults and kids, and that's so fun. It's to do it in an intimate group. Seminars, so speaking. So I'm able to go somewhere and put on a presentation for someone. Really those are the big focuses of, I guess, categories of my practice. But each one can turn into its own thing per person that comes through my door. But it's fun, and it's just an opportunity to customize. I might have all of these ideas and situations that I offer, but someone will come and sit in the chair, we'll talk, and then essentially what their plan is based on their goals and their dreams and their desires to be healthy and make changes.
Wow. 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 So tell me some of the um, biggest success you have with your business.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah. You
Um,
can break it
yeah,
down.
successes. I think I feel the successes is it's a strong word.
Mhm.
I feel that I've been most proud. My website launched last year. I feel like it's been a year and a half that I finally was able to collaborate, put my website together. That was a huge success.
Mhm.
And then just being able to come on to podcast and speak with people and do those public cooking demonstrations with people and just allowing myself to put myself out there and speak and get to know people, no strings attached.
Mhm.
Sometimes allowed people to go on Google and then I'll get a message from somebody I have no idea where they came from.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not doing commercials.
Mhm.
You know, I don't have a ton of stuff that'll fly across your Facebook or Instagram. So I feel it's becoming word of mouth.
Mhm.
It's becoming, um, is there a registered dietitian private practice in North Dakota? But I find that just being myself and showing my passion and care for others is leading to that success
Wow.
in my private practice. And I never want it to get to the point where I'm not joyful doing it.
Mm.
So I find that right now I'm able to focus on my clients
Mhm.
and give them that attention that they need, do these other opportunities to feed the private practice, and that's going to continue its success, I find. But it's really that backbone of why you want to do what you do as a professional
Mhm.
that's going to lead that success. And that's hard. That's a pride thing.
Mhm.
I'm very proud of what I do, but I'm also humble knowing, you know, things sometimes can be taken away.
Yeah.
So I always want to be true to myself and know I'm successful because of the people around me.
Mm.
They see the value in me, they choose me,
Mhm.
which allows me to be successful in the end.
Wow, this is wonderful. Yeah, I must say it again. I truly love your passion. When you talk about the business, it's really a beautiful thing, and I love that.
Thank you.
We're gonna take another short break here. When we come back, we'll be talking about some of the challenges that Sarah faces in her line of work. We'll be right back. We are back. We are at the Bison Information Network studio today, and my guest is the owner of Inspire Nutrition, Sarah T. Sarah,
Hi.
it's so good to have you
Thank
here
you.
in the studio today
Thank
to
you.
talk to us about your story and your experience. And now we get to a very to the part of the conversation where we talk about the challenges.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna just say, just what are the challenges that you face? Because just take the question wherever you wanna go
Okay.
with it.
Because you know I will at
Yes,
this point, right?
it's so take the question wherever you wanna go. What are the challenges? Some of the challenges you face, whether with clients,
Sure.
whether with your own life,
Sure.
whether with your own business.
So from the very beginning, um, graduating college, I was confident in what I was going to do, and in applying. The application process was probably one of the most intimidating things that I've ever done. You are making sure everything is done to the T, to the letter, your references. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to graduate. I've been working, volunteering, pouring my life into this profession already on top of a normal job. Sometimes I was working at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning at Starbucks as a assistant mom, like a floor manager. And then I would go to classes until 10 at night. And then sometimes I'd have to, in between, go and volunteer somewhere just to show my desire for this field so I would get accepted and be a better candidate. So that first round in 2009, I applied in the Chicagoland area, and it's very competitive. The field of dietetics is becoming extremely competitive. So I was confident, so I thought, in what I was doing. Come the day that you find out that you're into an internship, I did not make it.
Wow.
I did not make it that first round, and I had to take a step back and think, okay, no, this is what I'm meant to do. So I got on my horse. I played around with an MBA for a little bit and I worked. Found out that wasn't my true passion, went into public health, which I thought fit it so well. I love business. I'm good at that aspect, but the public health I just felt really helped finish off my degree in nutrition and wellness. So I did an internship for 2 years. I worked full time. I did another internship to satisfy my graduate degree. And I ended up with almost a perfect GPA, which I didn't have my first time around, despite all my work and volunteer and letters and references. And I interviewed the internships, I like to say, and I got in. I got into the internship in California, and that was my first step into overcoming that challenge to becoming a dietitian. It is a very intense field, a field where I don't think it's respected enough. Just what it takes to do what we do. We don't get an online certificate. That's not patient safety, client safety. We don't mess around. And so I overcame that, and that was extremely encouraging. Did my internship, then it came boards. That was my second challenge into doing what I do today. I have test anxiety, always had. I ended up working with an awesome psychologist for that test anxiety to study for my boards. He was amazing. He is not with us anymore. I found that out because he was amazing. I'd love to have interviewed him myself. And I found techniques and ways to beat it. And I did. So test after test after test for boards. I did not pass the first time. You know, I felt that there was pressure to take it and to pass and to work. I had to work full time. I needed to pay bills. So many tests later, I passed in the state of Wisconsin I drove up to, confident, ready. I changed my whole attitude around the boards, and I passed and I overcame it. I can't even explain the feeling of overcoming that obstacle which I had faced, what felt forever in this field. But to know I was a dietitian no matter what. I needed to pass those boards because that's what sets the standard. That's what allows us to do what we do with our patients. And from that day, I have just been running. So those were two very key parts of my life that define what I do now. I'd say the other challenges that I face in practice are not getting clients, right? I feel the right ones come that need and that desire the help. I find that it's, for lack of a better word, the competition, the influencers, the people who, bless their hearts, so proud of you, lost weight, but now they feel motivated to tell somebody what they did, what supplements, what colon cleanse they're doing per se. And there are a slew of people following that. And I'm not jealous. I think I'm more so defensive, even for my other professionals, my other colleagues that have worked so hard to get where we're at, to work with the patients and know that, hey, we see you. We see that maybe you have diabetes and heart issues, and you can come to us because you know that we're going to take care of you. And we're not just trying to help you lose weight because we lost that. So I find that actually social media and the media and that negative turn on everybody wants to kind of fit that profile without doing the work is one of the biggest factors in our profession right now that we're fighting for. Licensure, whether or not it's a key legislative year here in North Dakota, we overcame some legislation. I think it was about 2 years ago, and that was a huge moment for us. So finding out just how to protect our profession greatly impacts even what I do in my business.
Do you think that sometimes the influencers mislead some other people who want real help from a professional like yourself?
Because, and I mean this extremely respectfully, it's that desperation that they've done everything that they can and they just want to feel better. They want to look better. So they see what's happening in front of them. And that's them. But how many times have we seen filters on on social media, and I use social media. I love it. It's there for a reason, but be transparent, because there's people watching who are so desperate that they will do and pay anything to get that. But that's where I want to protect the people that come to me and know that, no, I'm not going to do that for you. I'm not going to do that to you. So it really is, it's hard. It's hard to be respectful to those that are putting in the time and making awesome videos, but also know that there is that audience that is craving for life. That's what I get to do. I always tell them, you're not going to work with me forever, but I want you to tell me 30 years from now, Sarah, I'm doing that, and I still love it because you taught me how to do it.
Wow, wonderful. So I want to ask you, if a student right now is listening to you or watching the show, and they want to follow your footsteps, so what would you tell them?
Do it, but know why you're doing it. Sit back and think, why do I want to pursue the field of nutrition and wellness? And I believe NDSU changed their name in their focus of their program. Forgive me, we just had some education on it this weekend, so we're still reviewing that. But the pathway to becoming a registered dietitian is hard. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. But if it is something you know that you are set out to do and you are meant to do it, pursue it at all costs, because it is worth every step of the way. Everybody would be physicians, right? Everybody would be, not everybody would be the president of the United States, but it's the same thing. It takes work to get to some of these professions, but if it does not bring you joy, that is one of the biggest words I like to use and embody, and joy. And it's not something that you're going to have hard days. I have hard days, right? There's days where you might be mind blocked and you're really trying to focus and dedicate yourself. But know the pathway, work hard for that pathway, ask all the questions that you can. Myself, reach out to myself after this, reach out to your professors or anybody else that is in this field, because we need more dietitians, but know that the journey is long, it's hard, but it is so worth it when you hold up that paper at the end, when you have passed your boards, knowing that's your pot of gold at the end of that rainbow that you've just worked so hard for. So you don't give up. You just keep going and know that it's rewarding.
Yeah, this is beautiful. I feel so bad that I didn't get a chance to go out there and ask some students what question they might have for you, because I'm sure you would have loved to answer some other question. And so, any last word you have for the professionals out there that are watching the show?
Professionals in general, or other dietitians?
Professionals in general.
Grace. We need to give ourselves grace in the pressures that this world gives us to be so perfect and on point. And we're human, right? But also know why we're doing it and who we're doing it for. The stories that I have of these clients, and I'm picturing some in my head right now, that's who we're doing it for. So if you're finding you have this hard day and having this hard time focusing, you're frustrated, you're mad, don't be afraid to fight for your value and your worth. I would say that is something I've learned, to know your value and your worth, but also humbly know what you bring to the table, but know that we are part of a team. In my profession, I might be part of nurses and NPs and physician assistants and physicians and all of these other keys that are working with this one person. Know where you are on that team and fight for yourself and stand up for that. But grace, give yourself grace and allow yourself to love what you do in the way that you want to do it.
Very cool. I have somewhat of a tickle in my throat here. So what does kindness mean to you? Because you sound like your story is, there's kindness all over Mm.
Kindness is a loaded question too, and I think it's how you interpret it. But I do find, you know, somebody who had issues, you know, growing up with bullying or whatnot, and seeing it in, you know, my own kids today, is just to, one, we have to love ourselves and where we are at, be kind to ourselves, not comparing ourselves to other, which is really hard, especially in the nutrition field, and compare, you know, clients comparing themselves. But again, it's grace for ourselves and others. You never know what kind of day, and as a mom, you never know what kind of day that person's having. Take that step back and think, okay, maybe they didn't put on their blinker. Maybe they didn't send something to you when they needed to on time.
Yeah.
Take that step back and ask that person. I think it's a sincere interest in other people. It's not going to be perfect every day.
Yes.
You're not going to be perfect. We aren't. We're human beings. But taking a light off of ourselves for a moment and focusing on others really can highlight kindness, thoughtfulness for somebody else. It's going to speak volumes in
Yes.
the end.
Oh my goodness, Sarah. I must say that I am so glad that you came on to the show today.
Thank you for having me.
It's really a pleasure to have you here. Listening to you is just your story is really inspiring.
Thank you.
Really inspiring, and I know that you are touching a lot of lives out there. You are helping a lot of people who really need the help, and I applaud all professionals who do that. So thank you so much
do
for
too.
being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Now, this is the part that I tell you. It's up to you to make today a great day. So have a great day.